What's up guys, it's Eddie here. I'm going to be showing you guys 4 Beyblade gimmicks you probably didn't know existed. Starting off with number 1, Torch Pegasus. This is Torch Pegasus, just another ordinary looking Beyblade from the plastic gen, and this is a launcher. We don't need this, because this Beyblade basically has its own built-in launcher that can make itself spin. All you're going to need is a ripcord and stick it through one of the entry holes, just like this. And when you launch the Beyblade, the whole bottom portion will start spinning, and I would say this is a pretty good thing because most of the weight is towards the bottom portion of this Beyblade. Contrary to its gimmick, you could still use a launcher to launch it, so I did a spin test to see which one spun longer. This one is using a launcher. So after doing some tests just with the launcher and stuff, it seemed like the most average time was around 105. And now this test will be utilizing just the Beyblade's gimmick itself. So at first, I thought that the gimmick would actually have a shorter spin time since the top half of the Beyblade had to catch up with the bottom half, but surprisingly it had a higher spin time of 1 minute and 11 seconds. So of course we're going to have to test battle this Beyblade just to see how the gimmick works on the stadium. So here I have Black Dronzer in attack mode versus Torch Pegasus. We're not really going to be doing a best of 5 or best of 3 or anything like that. We're just going to be doing some random fun test battles just to see how this Beyblade actually works out. So far what I've noticed is that the balance may not be as good. I'm not sure if it's just this battle, but it seems to be wobbling quite often. Also, hopefully some of you guys know what the Black Dronzer is, because it is a really rare Beyblade that had a huge importance in the plastic gen. So far, it hasn't been doing quite well against Black Dronzer. It's been getting knocked out and either outspin as well. It's also not like Dronzer has the best stamina. It is on the flat tip as well, just like any other attack type. So surprisingly, it is still outspinning or either somewhat damaging Torch Pegasus towards where it just loses all its spin. But that's Torch Pegasus for you, a really cool gimmick from the plastic gen, and yeah, we have a lot more coming on in this video, so stick around. And now for number 2, we have Round Shell MS. Round Shell MS is from the HMS series, or also known as the Hard Metal System, and its gimmick is this giant rubber wheel in the center of the Beyblade. This was also kind of meant to be used as a toy wheel, as it had a separate launcher where you could actually launch it as a wheel. Kind of like the original Bey wheel, I would say, the Bey wheel that existed before Bey wheels existed. And because of the giant rubber wheel, this Beyblade actually has extremely good defense. So once again, we're going to do a test battle using Dragoon MS on the right, which is a attack type Beyblade, versus our Round Shell MS. As you can see so far, it basically blocked all of Dragoon's hit, and now it's pretty much stagnant in the center and Dragoon is not just aggressive anymore. It's probably one of my favorite HMS Beyblades, definitely up there in probably my top 10, just because of the gimmick itself. Here's another thing, Round Shell MS does not have much stamina itself, it's using a plastic tip, so we're going to be facing it up against Wolborg MS that has a bearing tip, kind of like Phantom Orion from the Metal Fight series. And just like with any bearing tip, it has extremely high stamina, so how does it pair against our Round Shell MS? So here's how I found out about this interaction. I went to an HMS tournament recently where I lent my friend my Round Shell MS. I utilized a top tier stamina combo using the bearing tip as well. And when we battled, I lost every same spin stamina battle against his Round Shell MS. And after doing research, it seems like the process of destabilization is happening during this battle. As you can see here, Wolborg actually lost all its stamina by hitting the rubber wheel on Round Shell MS, and therefore Round Shell MS wins pretty much all the stamina battles in the same spin. So that's pretty much Round Shell MS, a really cool Beyblade. And now for number 3, we have engine gears, probably one of my favorite features from the plastic gen. Think of engine gears kind of like a spin track plus tip combined as one. The engine gear's special feature is that it can rev up and in battle release all that power at once. First, you have to rev up the engine gear just like this, and once it's ready, click this white button. As you can see, the bottom of the tip spins at extremely high rotations. Now this is Dronzer G. Dronzer G's engine gear gimmick is when you hit the blade base on these 2 spots, the engine gear activates. And when the engine gear activates in battle, it gives the Beyblade overall more stamina, more speed, and power. Now let's do some test battles to see how the engine gear actually works in battle. So in these battles, Dronzer G was kind of dominating a bit too much as it was just getting constant knockouts without the engine gear activating. So what I did was actually just launch the Beyblade twice to see if the engine gear makes any difference. And as you can see, the engine gear basically gave Dronzer a breath of life. So the same thing pretty much happened here. Dronzer just kept getting constant knockouts in the beginning. So I actually think if we launch the other Beyblade a second time, we can actually see how effective the engine gear is once Dronzer is low on stamina. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Dronzer that's just too good or if the engine gear is actually assisting in getting these knockouts. But overall, engine gears are just such a cool feature just because it feels like you're about to lose, but then once that engine gear activates, it just feels like you actually have a chance in winning again. And besides this, there's many other types of engine gears out there. But now for number 4, we have Thunder Serpent. Thunder Serpent is also a part of the HMS series, also known as the Hard Metal System. Now, if you look at this Beyblade closely, it does look like any other HMS Beyblade with its own features. As you can see, Thunder Serpent's attack ring can actually free spin, but the main gimmick of Thunder Serpent actually is inside of Thunder Serpent. So let's take apart Thunder Serpent to actually see what's inside of it. As you can see, inside of the attack ring, you can see this little black layer, which is actually sandpaper. Weird, right? Why would there be sandpaper inside of this Beyblade? This is actually the original combo and how the Beyblade was supposed to be built. Now let's look at the second metal piece from the attack ring. If you look at the very top, the little cylinder piece, that there is actually flint. And now if you put the two pieces together, this can basically make the Beyblade spark. So here comes the little free spinning gimmick here. Whenever the Beyblade gets hit while it's free spinning, the little flint piece grinds on the sandpaper and creates spark either during launch or during mid-battle. So let's actually see how this works in a battle. But here is just how it sparks in a launch. It's actually very bright. So now let's do a real battle. Now this Beyblade isn't the best in terms of battling, just because of the high recoil of the fusion wheel actually sometimes just makes itself die instantly. Now let's slow-mo that huge spark, but just a warning for headphone users, it's going to be a little bit loud. That honestly kind of sounded like a gunshot. So yeah, that's Thunder Serpent. Isn't that hella cool? Because honestly, I didn't even know that this Beyblade could spark, and I had it. I had a kid use this Beyblade at the last HMS tournament, and he told me, hey, this Beyblade is sparking, and I'm like, oh, there's no way that can spark. And then once I actually saw it spark, like, you couldn't believe my eyes. That was crazy. So yeah, that's 4 Beyblades that you guys might not have known existed for its gimmick. Would you guys like to see any other type of Beyblade? Let me know in the comments. Also wanted to say thank you to these Patreons. If you guys want to support my channel and become a Patreon, the link will be in the description.